Ụmụnne m ekene m unu. Afa m bụ Maazị Ezeoke. Ọ bụ mụnwa bụ onye isi Njenje Media. A sị m ka m were ohere a kpọbata onye ọbụla na nkata ụmụnne nke anyị na-akpa na mgbede a, nke anyị kpọrọ Meet the Aspirants for the Office of President General of Ohaneze Ndigbo from Rivers State. Nkata anyị na mgbede a bụ ka anyị tụgharịa uche dịka ụmụnne, ka anyị mara onye ọbụla chọrọ na ọ ga-azọ ọkwa gbasara onye isi Ohaneze. Ka anyị bụ ndị Igbo nọ n'ụwa niile jụọ ajụjụ: kedu ebumnuche onye ahụ? Kedu ihe ọ ga-emere ndị Igbo na ọ bụrụ na ndị Igbo họpụta ya n'ọkwa? Onye mụ na ya na-ekwu okwu na mgbede a bụ nwanne anyị nwoke, onye nke si na Rivers State, nke unu ncha niile mma. Aha ya bụ Barrister Uche Okwukwu. Uche, anyị ekene gị.
Good evening, sir. Ndewo.
Ndewo. Dịka onye ọbụla si mara, biko unu ga iwu na-adị n'ọkụ na unu ga-anụ ya, mana unu agaghị ahụ ihu ya. Anụrụ m na ndị na-enye ọkụ na-ewetakwa n'ọkụ ekweghị enye ha ọkụ n'ebe ọ nọ n'oge ugbu a. Mana n'oge adịghị anya, Chukwu mee ebere, ọ bụrụ na eweta ọkụ anyị nwere ike ịhụ ihe. Ọ bụkwa na ewetaghị ọkụ, unu ga-anụ ya. Ka anyị kparịta nkata a. Ọ bụrụ na anyị lụta n'afọ 4 gara aga, anyị nwere ụdị ọgbakọ a ebe anyị kparịtara nkata na ndị niile chọrọ ịzọ ọkwa Ohaneze n'oge ahụ. Nna anyị ukwu bụ Prọfesọ Obiọzọ nke rarala mmụọ, anyị na-akparịtakwa nkata. Prọfesọ Chido Suagwu, Dr. Jonwo, Chris Asoluka, Chief Raf Wazurike, ha ncha niile bụ ndị bịara n'ebe a n'otu n'otu. Anyị nọ ha wee nọrọ ala wee kpaa nkata dịka ebumnobi ha nwere ihe gbasara ndị Igbo. N'otu aka ahụ, o rugokwa ọzọ mgbe eji ahọpụta onye ga-abụ onye isi ndị Ohaneze, onye ga-achị ndị Igbo ma chịkwa anyị nke ọma. Nyaa bụ mbọsị ụka, anyị na nwanne anyị nwoke nke sikwa na Rivers State kpara nkata. Nwanne anyị nke afọ ya bụ Chief Jackson Omenazụ. Tata nwanne anyị nwoke sikwa na Rivers State, maka na ọha nwakwa uru na-akparịtakwa ya bụ nkata. Nwanne anyị nwoke nke dịka nsi kwu na mbụ, afọ ya bụ Uche Ukwu. Dịka ka m bido kene n'ebe a, dịka anyị si ekwu, kedu ihe ị ghọtara bụ Ohaneze ndị Igbo? Ama m na ịrụọla ọrụ Secretary General na mbụ, mana dịka sinsi iji wee mara ihe a na-akọ na Ohaneze, kwetakwanụ na ịbụ onye Igbo, bụrụkwanụ onye Igbo n'onwe gị, kedu ihe ị ghọtara bụ Ohaneze? Kedu ihe dị gị ka bụ oke na ọrụ Ohaneze? Nwanne m, ndewo.
Mgbede ọma. Aha m wụ Dim Uche Chukwunam Okwukwu, awụ onye Elele na Ikwere Local Government Area na Rivers State. Ajụjụ jụrụ m ele ihe ghọtara gbasara Ohaneze. Ohaneze wụ organization nke bidoro mgbe agha biri 6 years after the war. Ohaneze wụ a body ewepụtara eji replace the Igbo State Union nke bidoro na 1939. Ohaneze wụ otu ndị Igbo ji echekọta onwe ha, ma ndị Igbo ke nọ na ka a na-akpọ South South, ma ndị Igbo ke nọ na North Central, ma ndị Igbo ke nọ na South South East, ma ndị Igbo ke na-anọghị n'ụlọ nọ abroad ka a na-akpọ diaspora. Otu Ohaneze bidoro 1976 na-erukwe taa. So ọwa otu ndị Igbo mkpa ọhịa mekwere n'oge ndọrọndọrọ ọchịchị ruo Igbo niile na-adị consigned ka ewepụta onye ga-edu ndị Igbo duo ha rightly. Imene.
Nwanne m ịzakwara ya bụ ajụjụ m jụrụ gị ma zatakwana ya dịka onye nwere nghọta ihe gbasara ọhaneze. Ajụjụ m ọzọ bụ, ọ bụrụ na ahọpụta gị dịka onye isi ndị ọhaneze, kedu ihe ga-abụ ebumnobi gị ị ga-achọkarịcha ka imegharịa, nke ndị oyibo na-asị, what specific changes or initiatives do you plan to introduce?
Well, thank you. Ihe m bụ n'obi m ga-emewe ihe ise. One, aga m work hard with every other stakeholder ka Igbo nwee unity. Ka agbabatakwa ndị Igbo na-anọghị na Ohaneze as Ohaneze state from Benue, Akwa Ibom, Cross River and Edo state into Ohaneze. Akpọbata ha ga-enye ha voting rights. Kwerekwe know that ha ga-adọ ọchịchị n'Ohaneze. Maka ọ ga-akara ndị Igbo mma ka Aisha mbara than ịdị shrinks. Nke abụọ, aga m arụ ọrụ with all stakeholders. Ma Njenje television, their leadership, your management, and your workers. Ka anyị may achieve a constitutional amendment so a constitutional Ohaneze ga-adị all-embracing and all-compassing. I ga-agbalịkwa because one of the things m chọpụtara ndị mmadụ anweghị constitution, amaghị ihe gbasara constitution. Ihe m ji ekwu ya maka mgbe nsogbu pụtara na ọwụtọn Rivers State ma ọwụtọn, a lot of people na-asọrọ anya agụmhe constitution Ohaneze. So I ga-agbalị mee the constitution onye ọbụla enwe access to it. Then I translate the constitution Ohaneze into Igbo language. Just like anyị nwere abụ ọma yara akwụkwọ nsọ n'asụsụ Igbo. Onye na-amaghị otu a si agụ Bekee ga-agụ n'asụsụ Igbo. Maka constitution Ohaneze dịka akwụkwọ nsọ nke ga-echekwa ndị Ohaneze. Ka atọ, anyị ga-eme ka Ohaneze dey financially accountable by ensuring that the board of trustees will be established that will hold the funds of Ohaneze. Ohaneze will not be like the presidency or the executive that will apply to the board of trustees that will now release funds for Ohaneze to run its affairs and do things for Ndigbo. So that the issue of accusation and non-accusation of ego fukuru Ohaneze will stop. Kano, aga m agbalị with other stakeholders ka enweta ihe a na-akpọ a sovereign fund where Ohaneze ndị Igbo will contribute a sovereign fund which will be stable to help ndị Igbo in times of need and in time of crisis. This stable fund will be managed by a board or board of trustees drawn from within and outside, so that its independent financial system will be guaranteed. Kano kise sorry, ngeme I must strive hard. Ka ndị Igbo live in harmony with their neighbors. Ile my lecture speech in the Igbo Development Foundation in 2018. Ekwuru m na my gawa across the Niger. Ka anyị na ndị Igbo na ụmụ nwanne ike nọ n'azụ ụlọ anyị. Ka anyị rugodi enyi ukwu ụrụ nwanne ukwu. These 5 things, by the grace of God, if we achieve them within 4 years, I think we would have done well.
Dịka mgbe ị na-ekwu okwu, ị sị na ị ga-akaba ahụ mee ka Ohaneze dị n'udo, ka a na-emekọta ihe ọnụ. Ajụjụ m wee bụrụ, mgbe m na-akwado ịkpa nkata, o nwere ihe ndị m tinyere online na-asị ndị mmadụ, ọ bụrụ na onwe onye nwere ajụjụ ọ ga-ajụ gị, biko ya jụọ. otu ajụjụ n'ime ndị mmadụ sitere na akara ịntanetị zitere. Kedu ihe merenụ? Ihe nji na-ajụ gị ya oge a bụ maka ihe i kwuru etu ị ga-esi mee ka udo dị. Na 2019 na mgbe a na-azọ ndọrọ ọchịchị, Ohaneze kwekọrịtara na ha ga-akwado Atiku Abubakar mgbe ya na nwanne anyị nwoke bụ Peter Obi na-azọ elekshọn. Gịnwa wee jụ welu mesịa wee issue your own press release, mesịa wee je meet ya wee gaa hụ onye isi ala, nke mekwaranụ na Ohaneze were iwe wee sụpụ gị mgbe ahụ. Unu wee bido nke ndị oyibo na-akpọ a faction of Ohaneze. Ajụjụ m na-abụ bụ, ị nwere ike ịkọwara ndị Igbo ihe mere Igbo ji kweta n'ihe nwa wee dọọ isi akwara na ọ gaghị eso na usoro eji wee mee ya? Nke abụọ abụrụ, ọ bụrụ na ị nọ na faction Ohaneze, ajụjụ mmadụ ole ma ole si njụ abụ, ọ bụ faction Ohaneze ka ị na-azọ ka ị bụrụ onye isi ya, ka ọ bụ nke gị na ha nọ na aga ihu aga azụ na ndọrọndọrọ? Biko kọwatụrụ n'anyị ndị Igbo, maka na ụfọdụ n'ime anyị anọghị ebe a nụrụ ya bụ ahụ, and mere o ji wee gba ụfọdụ ndị ghara.
All right, thank you. And this question, Adrian, is very, very important. I got me ebido from the two issues many arise in Ohaneze when I was Secretary General. One, onye isi ala Muhammadu Buhari kpọrọ ndị Igbo leaders gwa ha that na ya ga-ekere ndị Igbo the 6th state to give them a sense of justice and equity. Ya kpọkwa ndị Yoruba ya ga-recognize June 12 to pacify them over the annulment of June 12 and the death of Moshood Abiola. Ohaneze a constitute onye a na-akpọ Committee of the Whole House with Professor Chigozie Ogbu, former Deputy Governor of Ebonyi, then incumbent Vice Chancellor of the Ebonyi State University, and myself as Secretary General, as Secretary of the Committee of the Whole House. We received applications from Donacho State, 18 in number. At the end of the day, the Committee of the Whole House settled for Aba State. It did not go down well within Nyawodo, the President, Chief Nyawodo, the then President General. He wanted Nsukka State, Adada State. I'm sure you have seen, you are a journalist, you have seen the report of the creation of Aba State. And then that report on the creation of Aba State did not see the light of the day. Two, on the floor of the NEC, National Executive Council, when Wodo and others said we were going to adopt Atiku, I said it was not going to be a viable option for Ndigbo. The two options that Ndigbo faces: don't adopt anybody, allow them to go to election. Ndigbo can engage him. The then President General felt you must adopt Atiku. And I said, I gave 5 reasons why Atiku is not, it was not in the best interest of Ndigbo to adopt Atiku. 1, Atiku is a Fulani, Buhari is a Fulani. Atiku is a Northerner, Buhari is a Northerner. Atiku is a Muslim, Buhari is a Muslim. 2, to defeat an incumbent president with a military background in Africa was very difficult. 3, it was in the interest of Ndigbo to support an outgoing president that will be completing his tenure in 2023 than to bring another person of the same stock with Buhari to assume office in 2019 and stay in power for 8 years more. Ndigbo were desirous to produce a Nigerian president of Igbo extraction, because the Yorubas have ruled 8 years, the South have ruled, technically speaking, 8 years, because Jonathan was in power for 6 years. It was going to be in the interest of Ndona Igbo ka ha nweta president. Unfortunately, we don't take the right political decisions. They adopted Atiku, and I adopted Buhari. And my brother recorded me for emphasis. If that situation occurs again, I, Uche Okwukwu, will adopt Buhari, given the circumstances and the facts on the ground. I will repeat it, I will adopt Buhari. The reason is, we must not allow leaders to be beclouded by selfish interests. We must be objective. We must be analytical. We must be pragmatic when trying to address problems of Ndigbo. All over the world, oppressed and marginalized people, when they are careless with the decisions they take, they pay dearly for it. So it was not Ndigbo or Ohaneze. It was the decision, the adoption of Atiku was the decision of a man or some people who felt that their interest was going to be protected by an incoming president. And I've said it time without number. If we continue to go the way we are going, we may not access the presidency of this country for a long time to come, because we don't take the right decision at the right time. So, if I become President General of Ohaneze Ndigbo, every decision that will be taken will be considered against the background of objectivity, practicability, and reality and facts on the ground. I will not, because I have a selfish interest, take a decision that will endanger the interests of Ndigbo. Ajujum na aju now. The way Nigeria is struck, the way it is going, when would the Igbos access the presidency? The Yoruba man is in power again because of the decision we took in 2019. They negotiated themselves back to power again. If the Yoruba man finish ruling 8 years, power will go to the north on the basis of north-south, north-south, or south-north. And it means that the time we're going to talk about power in Nigeria, presidency again to the south, after Ashwaju 8 years, he goes to the north, will be 2039. How many of us will be alive in 2039 to midwife the strategy that will bring Ndigbo to power? So I'm a leader who have been consistent with my struggle and consistent with my struggle and belief in Ndigbo. Unknown to you and unknown to a lot of people, for 30 years of my life, I spent it on Igbo cause. In 1995, I was the National Legal Advisor, Eastern Nigerian Student Association. In 1997-98, I was the country director of the ENDOA, the Eastern Nigeria Delta Unity Association, led by Chukwudumi Kazo from Obosi and Ekie from Bayelsa, a United Kingdom-based organization. In the year 2000, I was the first national legal advisor of the movement for the actualization of the Sovereign state of Biafra. In 2004, 2001, I traveled to the US with Odumegwu Ojukwu, Ralph Owazurike, and others to open the Biafran House in Washington, D.C. and the Voice of Biafra International. I have attended the World Igbo Congress 2 times. In 2004, I was in Switzerland to present the case. First time the Biafran case was to surface on the floor of the United Nations was through me. I got accreditation to the United Nations Human Rights Commission in Geneva through a society called the Society for Threatened People in Göttingen, Germany. The working documents I went with was prepared by an organization based in Chicago called the Ekwenche. In 2005, I was arrested and charged with treason with Owazurike and others, including Uche Namado. I was kept in underground detention in the DSS headquarters, taken to Suleja prison, later to Kifi prison, where I got my bail. My lawyer is the present Minister of Aviation, Festus Kayamo. As I came out from prison, I was elected the National Legal Advisor of Ohaneze Youth Council, for which I received an award, which was presented to me by Ezife. In 2010, I was honored by the Igbo Mass Movement for a fearless my defense of Ndigbo. In 2017, I was elected Secretary General of Ohaneze Ndigbo. I will I will ever remain consistent in the defense of Ndigbo. But what I will not allow and I will never agree is for some persons to exploit the vulnerability of Ndigbo and put them into bondage and slavery. Thank you.
Thank you, nwanne m. Ya bụ ịgbara ife ego na-ata. Ka m jukene gị ndị oyibo si na follow-up question. Mgbe ị na-ekwu okwu ihe mere eji gbaa anụkwaghị m na mbụ, ị kwuru na enwere mgbe Buhari si ka eweta afa steeti enwe ike ikreate for South East. Biko, gụnwa bụ barista, ịghọtara ihe gbasara Constitution nke ọma. President nwere ikike inye a region a state.
Yes, he has the power.
Under the Constitution, how?
When you are dealing with, I'm a lawyer. That's what they call extra-legal steps. That's what they call extra-legal steps. I want to tell you today, some decisions on earth are taken outside the law. What power does the president have to recognize Abiola as president? Was Abiola declared president, winner of the election by INEC? I ask you a question. What power does the president have to recognize Abiola as a winner of an election which was not declared by INEC?
That was done posthumously. Now, let me pick up. Ka anyị kwulugodo ebe a maka na ihe m ji chọọ ka anyị kọwa ihe ọfụma bụ ọ bụrụ na anyị na-akpa nkata ndị mmadụ ga-enwekwa ihe ha ga-amụ. Ọ bụrụ na anyị jee na Nigerian Constitution 8:1 subsection ọ bụrụ na anyị jee na Nigerian Constitution,
yes,
enwelu asị gị how new states can be created. Permit me, I'll read. A request supported by at least exactly. So if I will name this place, because I know. No, hold on. Ihe na-achọ ka m gọpụtagodo ebe a ka m marụ bụ na ọ bụ aghụghọ ka a chọrọ ịghọ ndị Igbo merụ anyị ji wee nwee conflict ka ọ bụ nọọ ihe dị nwee ka esi wee mekata ya wee akpakọta ya bụ nkata wee ghọọ ngịga. Ọ bụrụ na ịma this section chọọ ikwu na ọ dịghị ka abasị gị na ọ bụrụ na a ga-enwe bill, a ga-submit to the National Assembly, either the Senate or the House of Assembly or local government, agwa gị na these are the proposals that eventually will go into referendum, lugide wee lue na a ga-emepe steeti. Kedu ka onye isi ala ga-esi bịa gwa ndị Igbo ọ na aghọrị ndị Igbo na a ga-enye ha steeti ka e wee tinye ọgba aghara n'etiti ha ka ọ na gịnị mere ya bụ?
What you are asking me, with the greatest respect, I don't answer questions that are in the realm of subjectivity. With the greatest respect, I respect people a lot, but what I will not come is to begin to make statements that will present an ethnic group as very stupid and insensitive. Why, if it was intended to mislead Ndigbo, why did the ethnic group agree? Why did the ethnic group agree that the committee of the whole house of Ohaneze should be constituted? And then we went into voting. And 12 voted for Aba State, 5 voted for Adada, 2 abstained, 19 persons voting. And then the report was suppressed. The report in black and white was suppressed. So what you want me to say is that the Igbos were deceived by the president, who had all the powers under the law, because to you, law is only a written law. There are other laws beyond written laws that govern a people. One of them is declarative powers of the president. By fiat of the president.
Anyị anaghị anụzi ihe ị na-ekwu. Ọ bụrụ na ị nọ ya, okay, ọ dị ka igwe eji ekwu okwu ekopụla. Nwanne m Uche, oke, anyị anaghị anụzi nke gị, danwa mere m ji wee ngwa gaa n'iru n'okwu ị na-ekwu.
Yeah, what I said is that I will not want to make a statement to say Ndigbo were deceived or misled. It will mean that the entire Igbo nation accepted to be misled and be deceived. And I've said, when it comes to governance, law is not, constitution and written law is not the only instrument used in governance. And I asked you a question and asked those who want to ask. The annulment, the annulled June 12th, had a presumed winner, a presumed winner, a presumed winner. How come that the presumed winner was recognized and was given the award, the honor they give to a GCFR, the award they give to, or honor, national honor they give to serving president? Why I say this, sir, is that I don't want to make comments on this issue. I have tried to keep calm over some certain things that have happened in Igbo land. I have been around the scene, as I said, for 30 years of my life, and I understand our people, but I wish everybody luck, including those who want to lie. But another question you raised, which I didn't address, is that you said I was suspended. The same constitution you are referring to, have you read the constitution of Ohaneze and look at the procedure to suspend? I was purportedly suspended. Do you look at the constitution how to suspend the secretary general or a member of the NEC? And when you say you, assuming without conceding, I was suspended. So Wodo has the right to unilaterally suspend somebody and then replace the person with somebody from Abia State, Ogunji Solomon, who died. When Ogunji Solomon from Abia State died, you replaced him with somebody from Ebonyi. This brings us back again to the same issue where there is plot to undermine in the Ndo River State on Ohaneze. Today, they are bringing a man from Ebwe in Imo State, Mike Okiro, who is from Obiakpo, to come and become President General. And there are no protests on the streets. We are debating it. So the point I'm making, with the greatest respect, the president of the country told us to go and do something. We did it. Whether he was going to do it or not, we owe him a duty to submit that report and let the report get across to him. Then let it be that the report was suppressed by the presidency. In the presidency. Why did we not do that? Why did we not do that? If we knew he was deceiving us, misleading us, why did we constitute a committee of the whole house and come up with a report? Why did we?
Okay. Aka nwere ọtụtụ ihe aka ga-akpagasị mana ka anyị ghara igbu oge maka na oge anyị olubego mgbe anyị ga-akpọbata ndị na-anọnyere anyị ka ha jụọ ajụjụ nke ha. Ka njikene bụ na ọ bụrụ na arọpụta anyị dịka onye isi ndị Ohaneze, gịnwa bụ onye Igbo si na Rivers State. Ohaneze nwere obodo 7 ha si na ndị Igbo nọ, mana mụ na gị ma na ọ karịrị 7 ebe anyị makwanụ na o nwere ụmụnna anyị bụ ndị Igbo. Kedu ihe ụzọ ihe na-abụ ị ga-emekarịsị ka ị were kpọkọnata ndị Igbo ọnụ ebe ma ebe ọbụla ha nọ na Naịjirịa?
Sir, are you hearing me?
Ana m anụ gị nwanne m.
All right. First is that we must get justice, internal justice and internal equity in our league. A situation where some Igbos feel superior to other Igbos must stop. One Uche. Manakwana Otod. Ihe na-eme n'ala Rivers State, ndị na-asụ Igbo. n'otu ihe esi apasive Ohaneze wụ ihe mwute. Ekwuole m, and I'm sure you have googled me, not because I wrote articles, I granted interviews because I was to be anything. I have been consistent writing, shouting that ndị Ikwere, ndị na-asụ Igbo nga awụ ndị Igbo. But ihe na-eme taa were a source of disunity, where some Igbo leaders na back onye na-awụ onye Igbo na Rivers State ka ọ wụrụ President General, always source of disunity. Onye chọrọ ịgwa anya na-eweta ose, ịchọrọ ịgwa anya ị ga-eji ose agwa anya. A na-eji osisi n'aka akpọ nkịta. If we must get Igbos united, internally we must practice justice and equity. Before we go to say ndị ọzọ mere anyị ebere, nye anyị justice, nye anyị equity, anyị ga-enwe ya n'obodo anyị. I nweta ya, I dey call before the law, Ohaneze Constitution, which is our law. I dey equal in terms of respect na somanya. I give ondo Igbo nọ na Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Edo na Benue, ha bata. Ha ga na-ele anya otu anyị si eme onwe anyị to come in or not. Therefore, if I become President General, I will uphold the tenets of the Constitution. I will be fair to all sections of Ndigbo. I will ensure that all Igbos do not suffer injustice and inequity. Thank you.
Nwanne m dewo, ikwuola Constitution na ụzọ na ịkpọtụla ya aha ugboro abụọ. O were m ka ọ na-eme m ka m were maka ya jụọ gị ajụjụ ka nwa nke bụ, ọ bụrụ na arọpụta gị dịka onye isi ndị ọrụ, ị nwere ike igosi ịgụ anyị ihe na-abụ ma ọ bụ ịtọ ị chere na ọ dịghị mma dị n'ime dị na Constitution ahụ ị ga-achọ na ngwa ngwa ka ịkpọkọta ụmụnne gị n'ime obi nakwa NEC ka emegharịa ya n'ike n'ọkụ n'ọkụ.
One, the Constitution have to create an electoral body which lifespan will be 5 years, so that the incoming executive do not constitute the electoral body. The executive do not constitute the electoral body. The electoral body will be in existence to conduct the election. A situation where it is the present executive that constitutes the electoral body that will midwife election is subject to suspicion, controversy, and manipulation. Two, we shall ensure, because not only me, it's an executive council, working with the General Assembly, working with people like you in the fourth realm of the state, working with Igbo Lawyers Forum and other groups. We shall ensure that we amend the Constitution and remove the holding of the funds of Ohaneze from the NEC. And the NEC will be like the presidency applying to a body and draw funds from them based on budgets to run Ohaneze periodically. You asked me to name two things I will do.
Okay. Ịzatala m ya ụzọ na-abụ otu ihe i kwuru bụ fund. Ama na dịka nke bụkwanụ ego ndị ọyị nwoke na ite na-akpọ ya okpogho, ka ọ bụrụkwanụ na ị bụrụ onye isi ndị ọhaneze tata, ọ bụ ndị gọvanọs anyị nwere bụ ndị na-eweta ego eji eme ihe ọbụla dị na. Kedu ka gị nwa chere na ọ bụrụ na esi mee ya na ọ ga-aka mma karịa ka esi eme ya tata? Kedu ka ị ga-esi na-achụ nta ego a ga-eji wee na-eme ihe gbasara ọha?
Let me talk to you. No, don't bother. I was intending I'm talking to you. Hello?
Yeah, I know. In the
Yeah, yes. Ejroma, how to remove Ohaneze from the control of the governors?
Well, I didn't say remove, but today, how on our phone there, whether you want to retain it, you want to continue, you want to go there.
Can I answer straight to?
Yes,
can I answer that?
Yes.
It's only when Ohaneze becomes an organization that the people accept wholeheartedly that Ohaneze can now appeal to Ndigbo to make contributions to the running of the affairs of Ohaneze. If every Igbo man who is an adult contributes to Ohaneze, let us say Ohaneze can generate on record 5 million members, and they pay a quarterly dues, that's once in every 3 months of 100 naira. That is 500 million naira. So in a year, Ohaneze can on his own raise 502 billion naira through monthly dues. That will be able to run Ohaneze. But let me state, the governors are Igbos. Therefore, if they contribute to Ohaneze funds, nothing is wrong with it. Businessmen, journalists, lawyers, everybody, doctors, professors, can voluntarily contribute whatever they want to Ohaneze, just like in church. They are doing church building project. They say every church member will pay 50 naira. Some members of the church can contribute 1,000. It depends on what their spirit tells them and what the peace they want to make with their creator. Therefore, the governors can contribute, everybody can contribute whatever he or she likes. But the contribution will be different from when the organization does not even have money to run itself and go cap in hand begging the governors. If they had the money generated from membership, from within and outside, they will be strong enough that when the governors bring or they don't bring, they will be able to run Ohaneze. A situation where the Ohaneze is dependent on the governors for daily survival, I pray to God Almighty will not occur. Thank you, sir.
Ọ bụrụ na ama m na afọ ịnọ gara aga, ajụjụ m na-ajụ gị kịta bụ ajụjụ m jụrụ late prọfesọ Obiọzọ, ọ dịka mụ na ọ chọrọ iji wee nwee nghọta ya. Ọ bụrụ na ị bụ prezidenti Ohaneze, ọ bụrụ na ndị gọvanọ na-eji ụgwọ ewetaghị ego, onweghị ego dị na akpa unu ji arụ ọrụ, kedu ihe ị ga-eme?
I've told you, sir. I was the first director of legal services and national legal advisor movement for the actualization of the sovereign state of Biafra. The governors did not fund that organization. The governors never funded it. And let me tell you something, Ralph Wazirike is alive. When he was driven out of Imo State, the underground movement, the underground leadership, the inner cell of the organization, today I can speak on it, first relocated him to Akwa Ibom State, where our members welcomed him. We felt Uyo was not safe. We relocated him to Port Harcourt and built what I call security cells around him. It was 6 months he stayed in Port Harcourt before we moved to the US. The money to run on MASSOP was generated from selling of MASSOP membership cards. MASSOP membership cards. When it was in Port Harcourt, Ikwere received him in thousands. We one time had Ray Batobo, who came in to even act as one of the leaders from Abonema. So the point I'm making, organization must have capacity to appeal to these people to support it. I can tell you from my experience that I have all it takes to appeal to our people. I have been around the scene for long and understand our people.
Okay, when them.
You can make a phone call to him and ask him. I can appeal to our people. See, one of the things we must not do is to bother a man that he did not give you money. He's not, as an Igbo, if he pays 100 naira every 3 months, and he said even as governor he's not giving you kobo, he has paid his dues, for which makes him a member of Ohaneze. Every other thing he gives you, just like Omonna, meet no Omonna. Omonna na atọ, even if you're a billionaire, it talk Omonna kuna family meeting, it all otoge. But obi gị gwa gị that gị nye ụmụnna more money, o shi n'obi gị. Ị na-enweteghị ụmụnna gị abịa agbago ụgwọ. The only thing I ga agbago ụgwọ wụ ewu onye Igbo, ewu a member of Ohaneze, ekwuhụ 100 naira gị every 3 months. So we must only work hard to iwepụ this issue of ịgachiri na government has governor with ego. I can comfortably, and I'm telling you today, talk to our people to generate a membership of 10 million people in Ohaneze in the first 6 months, who will be willing to pay 400 naira every year to remain member of Ohaneze. 400 naira every year. I can comfortably do that. Every year, 400 naira, 100 naira per quarter in every quarter. If the governors decide and the senators and reps and chairmen decide to contribute, okay. If they don't, you run the organization. And let me tell you, when the organization is strong and viable, it will appeal to them and they will come to support it.
Nwanne m nwoke ikwuola ọfụma ka mụ na gị ka anyị gatụ maka ihe gbasara nchekwa obodo. Gị nwa makwara dịka m si mara na ọtụtụ ihe na-eme n'ala Igbo, ọtụtụ ndị mmadụ ụjọ anaghị ekwezi ka ha lata ụlọ nna ha, ma ị bụ Ohaneze ma ị bụghị Ohaneze. Ya bụ ihe gbasara nchekwa na-emetụ onye ọbụla. Ọ bụrụ na e nwere ka a ga-esi họpụta gị, kedu ka ị ga-esi nye aka mee na nchekwa ndụ, enwenwe nakwa akụnụba n'ala Igbo bụ ihe ga-akwụdosi ike?
First and foremost, Ndigbo are peace-loving people. Be above average, you are peace-loving. I don't act in a hurry. If you've asked about me and know me, become President General for Ohaneze Ndigbo, I will constitute a study group and expect from them that in 30 days they should come up with a report. Sources of conflict and crisis in Igbo land. Recommendations. With that working document, I will appeal to our people to embrace it, and we will strive hard to bring about peace. You cannot find solution to what you don't know. Most of the things we are doing are ad hoc. We cannot even say the cause of the problems we are facing today. 2, I wrote a letter 2 months ago, November, to the president, appealing to him to release Nnamdi Kanu, to reduce tension and crisis in the southeast, particularly in Igbo land. hinterland Igbo land of Olo and other places. And I want to state, and I want to be on record, that Nnamdi Kanu must be willing to accept a release on conditions. On conditions. Every release, including release from police station, from court, is on condition. What is important is the security and welfare of the people, because you cannot lead a people that are dying in their mass, in their numbers. Now, when eventually he's released, he must be at the forefront of disarmament. We will all, Ohaneze, Nnamdi Kanu, IPOP, all will be talking to Ndigbo. Disarm, because you cannot hold arms and talk about rehabilitation. You must disarm and accept rehabilitation, accept integration. When we address this, we now begin to talk about the social economic conditions, how to address it so that our people will not resort to violence at the level they've done in recent times. Thank you, sir.
Nwanne m ekwuola, onye nwere ntụ ya nụrụ. Otu aka m ji agwa ndị na-esonyere anyị nọ na ịntanetị, biko ndị nọ na YouTube, ndị nọ na Facebook, ndị nọ na Twitter, ọnwa onye n'ime unu nwere ajụjụ, biko dee ya, depụta ya ọfụma ma sụpịakwa ya ọfụma ka anyị jụọ nwanne anyị nwoke na anyị ga-agbapụ ya ọsọ. O nwere okwu ikwuru ugboro na-abụọ maka na ọ ga-adị ka ọ bụrụ na ma etinyeghị anya ọ dịka Okeke nwaanyị nwee ka o si adị, ọ dịka ọ dị ntị njọ. Ajụjụ m bụ, ikwuola okwu onye na-abụghị onye Igbo, onye na-abụghị onye Rivers ịzọ ọkwa Ohaneze na Rivers. Ịkpọkwalanụ onye nke chibukwara, onye nke bụbu onye isi ndị uwe ojii na Naịjirịa bụ Mike Okiro, dịka mụ na gị si akparịta nkata echi na ọkwa elekere 7 nke mgbede, mụ na ya ga-akpakwa nkata dịka mụ na gị, dịkwa ka mụ na Jackson si wee kpaa echi gara aga, ma ọ bụrụ ndị Imo. Isi na ọ bụghị onye Rivers dịka isi ekwu, mana ọ bụrụ na m gaa na ịntanetị n'ebe anya, aga m ahụ na mgbe ọ gara sekọndịrị skuul na ọ sị na ọ bụ onye Rivers, mgbe ọ gara yunivasiti ọ bụ onye Rivers, mgbe ọ rụrụ ọrụ polisi ọ bụkwa ndị Rivers ka o ji mpaghara ha wee rụọ. Ọ ga-abụzi onye gbachazịa bọọlụ ka ọ lachazie oroma asị ya na ọ bụzi ka esi eme? Biko ị nwee ike ịkọwatụ ya bụ okwu ikwuru ọfụma, nkeji abụọ biko.
My brother, Imana Ogbonnayonu was governor of Abia State. Ogbonnayonu, before the creation of Abia, was in Imo State. But Ogbonnayonu died as an indigene of Ebonyi. He was governor of Abia 1991 to 1993 on the platform of NRC. But he died an indigene of Ebonyi. Can Ogbonnayonu son, or if Ogbonnayonu is alive, can he feel to take onye Ebonyi, onye Abia, will he?
Man, no big in a boundary.
No. Ask you a question. Can he?
No.
Thank you. Mike Okiro. Community. Please, sir, with the greatest respect, let journalists be investigative. Let journalists be investigative. You should stand up from the studio, from the room, and go and investigate. So we don't put Ndigbo in trouble. Wait, with respect, sir. You're a journalist. Excuse me, sir. Please, sir. Excuse me. Can I say something, sir? Please, can I say something? The problem I have is that you people want to shut down people. They want to say something. Can I say something? Can I say something? Yes, can I say something?
Go ahead.
Please, sir. Investigative journalism requires that you should stand up from where you are and find out. Mike Okiro is from a community called Obiapo, Ogumanku village in Obiapo. His brother, Ozemena Okiro, was the paramount ruler of that village. He was made the paramount ruler by the former governor of Imo State, Achiku, then Ofunne Ofunnaya. Michael Kiro belongs to an age grade in his village. Otu Egobeze. Michael Kiro is presently a member of the Imo Elders Forum. Presently, Michael Kiro is a member of the Oluzonal Forum in Imo State. What do you want again? We have already addressed the press on this matter 2-3 days ago. The presidential aspirants from Rivers State, 3 or 4. So we have addressed the matter. Get off from where you are, go to Obiapo and find out this, if it's not from there. That you joined the police, you went to secondary school, no, that is when you were in Rivers State. Just like I told you, Obonoyono was in Abia, became governor, but he died an indigene of Ebonyi. He's from Ubru. I know his village. Either we tell ourselves the truth or we don't tell ourselves the truth. If we don't want justice in Igbo land, then we should shut up when other people maltreat us. If we don't want justice, we don't want to be fair to other people. Why are we complaining about marginalization in Nigeria? Nothing stops you from standing up tomorrow and visiting Egwema.
Anụla m ihe i kwuru. Etela m ya akwụkwọ, mụ na ya ga-akpọtakwa ya ebe a, ndị Igbo ga-anọ anyị akparịkọtakwa nkata. Ajụjụ a na ihe ndị kwuru bụkwa ihe ndị tupu ma ewere onwela ndị wenye aka enu, mana tupu ma akpọbata ha ka ha jukene gị ajụjụ ha nwere. Ajụjụ ikpeazụ m nwere ịjụ gị bụ, kedu ihe ọ dị gị ka ị ga-emenwuru ndị Igbo gbasara omenala anyị, Igbo niile ebe ha, ndị nọ n'ụlọ na ndị nọ n'ụzọ ije?
Thank you very much. One of the things I forgot to say is that when I become President General, I will ensure that in the National Secretariat of Ohaneze and in all state secretariats, books on Igbo history and culture will be available. That you must maintain a library or a mini library. What inspired me on this direction, how many today, and I don't blame them. If you have read my articles, I don't blame anybody. But if you are ignorant, particularly if what you are saying flows from ignorance, I won't blame you. Because you can't blame a man who does not have knowledge. You have to educate him. But a lot of them have access to colonial records, pre-colonial records. And even Akukondu Bini Jaka had them. Therefore, I will make available, we will try to establish libraries so that we can know about our past and read about our present and our future, and so that anticipate our future. 2, it is important we encourage Igbos to keep arts and artifacts of great importance, and then see whether Ohaneze can collaborate with National Commission on Arts and Culture to turn those places to museums so that people can visit. It will generate wealth from them. Then it's important that we encourage our people to preserve things that are going into extinction in Igbo land. We must try to preserve them, particularly some important shrines, forests, center of religious worship, and arts and artifacts. Above all, Ohaneze will appeal to states to establish museums where things will be kept for people to visit. If we get it right, even it will increase our IGR. When people go and see those things, they pay money, and then our children will be inspired that where we are coming from, our grandfathers, great-grandfathers, our ancestors had something. They were not as stupid as being presented by some pseudo-anthropological writers. Thank you, sir.
Nwanne m ikwuola nke ọma. Ndị na-esonyere anyị na igwe ịntanetị na Facebook na-agụ ihe ha na-ede, ọ na ọtụtụ ihe ị na-ekwu na-amasị ha. Mma ewere onye izizi m ga-akpọbata ka ọ jụọ gị ajụjụ bụ Dr. Law Mefo, nke bụ Kọmishọna Information na Anambra Steeti. mana tupu m ebubata ya ka ọ jụọ gị ajụjụ ka m jụkene gị ajụjụ a site na ihe i kwuru isi mgbe i kwuru okwu gbasara ndị Igbo ebe ọbụla nke a bụ nke metụtara gị nwa nwanne anyị nwoke bụ Wike si na ọ bụghị onye Igbo ọtụtụ ụmụnne anyị bụkwa ndị kwere si na ha bụ ndị Igbo biko ọ bụ na agụba amaghị akpụzi ya bụ isi ka ọ bụ na ihe eji akpụ ka ọ bụ na nwa Mgbeke jụrụ amaghị akpụ ka ọ na agụba adịghị nkọ kedu ihe ọ dị gị ka kpatara na ọtụtụ na-asị na ha bụ ọtụtụ asịkwa na ha abụghị maka na otu inwe ike kọwara anyị ya dịka anyị nwa bụ ikwusi nọ ndị Igbo hinterland anyị nwe n'onwe anyị bụ dịka ndị Anambra enwere ike ya ma nghọtasị ya biko kọwa kenela anyị ya.
Thank you, sir. In 2020, Wike granted an interview na AIT that na ya won Ikwere Shibini. That's 5 years ago. I replied him. I wrote an article then in 2020, which was published in 5 pages of the Vanguard. Pages 1, 9, 10, 11, and 12 of the Vanguard of December 5th, 2020. You can Google it. The title is Wike, Why Deny Your Igbo Roots? Wike was incumbent governor then. I didn't fear contradicting, coming out to say you are not telling the truth. I wrote in the Vanguard, open it, Wike, Why Deny Your Igbo Roots? December 5th, 2020. Pages 1, 9, 10, 11, and 12 of the Vanguard. The point I'm making, sir, even last year, when the so-called Igbo Progressive Organization came out and said, Igbo people are Benin, they are not Igbo. I wrote 3 articles, 1 page each, in the Punch, the Nation, and the Sun. I was on radio, I was on television, for which they petitioned me to the IG of police, the State Director of DSS. Now, what the point I'm making is that Wike interview was born out of ignorance. And since then, in 2020, when I wrote that article, it was a well-researched article. We had not said anything again about it. He had not. Therefore, it brings me back to what I have said. We must make books available on our history and culture to our people to read. You cannot blame a man who have not read. Why I know these things is that I have spent so much time around people in and out of the country reading and keeping records. I was very close to the elders of our people. I was close to the late C.C. Uche. If he asked the son, Chibudon Uche, he calls me my father's son. I was close to Chief Emmanuel Aguma. I was close to Kobule Wonode. I used to go to Uniport to go and meet him and spend time with him, and he would teach me. You cannot blame a man who have not learned anything. Therefore, we owe our people a duty to teach them about their roots and their culture before we can blame them.
Dr. Lomefo, ọ bụ na ịdịla biko ka petụrụ anyị aka na igwe ikpọghepụ ọnụ Dr. Lomefo, Commissioner of Anambra State. Anụ eyi agụ.
Daalụ, Ichi onye Njenje. Jisie ike. My big brother, Uche Okwukwu. It's good to know that you are still in the trenches. Jisie ike. One quick one. One is an observation. I agree with Barrister Uche Okwukwu. Na Obro Buhari ka ye blame. Ogwa if I eme. He did the report in ye. If all for him and posterity. I am very hope. So nobody should blame Buhari at all. In fact, Buhari na national television, Kuivan Yagwa Ndigbo weta a state. And we should have been able to bring out a state, any state at all, able Funyabulu. Consensus would have been the best. So I agree with Uche Okwukwu. We ought to have done that. Then a question. I just want to ask this question. My brother and friend Uche, where do you think the issue of abandoned properties stand now? Any chance of addressing it ever again? You know, just thinking out loud. Dalu, and I wish you well, because Amana, you make a good President General. I've seen you in the trenches for over a decade, so I have no doubt of your competence and your commitment to Igbo cause and Igbo race. So Jisie Ike, my brother.
Anwe Yago.
Dalu.
Ekeneme.
Yeah.
Ekeneme. Ngwanụ nwanne m nwoke barista Uche ịnụlanụ ebe ọ si kedu maka akụnụba ndị asa na anyị ga-ahapụzi wee gbanaba ọsọ.
Thank you. Go and read my interview, 26th of August 2000. Part of that interview was published in a book written by Reverend Father Ezian titled "In Biafra, Africa Died." As at the year 2025 years ago, I granted an interview to then the Assistant Editor-in-Chief, Vito Gene, who is a member of the House of Representatives now. He's from Anambra. The publisher of the magazine then was Comfort Obi. In that interview, I raised the issue of abandoned property 25 years ago. And I said it was injustice. It is injustice. Because as at the time the abandoned property decree or act was made, the right to property was still protected under the Constitution of Nigeria 1963. The fundamental rights were not abolished. Therefore, it will require political pressure to demand for justice for those whose property were confiscated and seized. 2, we must equally note that abandoned property was put in place to create a gulf between the peoples of the former Eastern region. And it has been a source of worry and concern in the last 55 years. Therefore, as President General Ohaneze Ndigbo, I will raise the issue with a sense of responsibility and responsiveness in the direction that, assuming without conceding you cannot pay for these properties, but apology is very important. Apology is very, very important. It will go far to address psychological and emotional injury arising from it or occasioned by it. So why?
Ekwuchala biko anyị ga-agbapụ ya ọsọ ka oge na-akwazikọrọ kwapụ dịka ị na-ekwu ndị mmadụ na-ewenye aka nnukwu ọ bụrụ na ikwuchala na nke ahụ ka m kpọta onye ọzọ biko Dr. Chukwuemeka. Dr. Chukwuemeka.
Yeah, I'm here.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
As I said 25 years ago, not because of Ohaneze today, I had spoken on abandoned property. And I've referred you to the magazine. I've referred you to the person who interviewed me, the publisher. And I equally said, if you see a book titled "In Biafra, Africa Died," my interview was quoted. So, if I did that 25 years ago when I was nobody, when I become President General, I'll be in a vintage position to raise the issue.
Okay.
I didn't do that as a leader of MASSOP. There was no MASSOP 25 years ago. I granted that interview 25 years ago. So the points I'm making is that anything I will raise it up. I'm really worried concerned. How money?
Mm.
How money? How money? My DNA is Igbo. My blood is Igbo. My spirit is Igbo. My thoughts, dream, vision is Igbo. I've been at the forefront. No single Ikwere man, no single Rivers man of this age. Please, Lawmaker is listening. Ask him. That have been open, strong, and talking about Ndigbo. None. None. Google me. Google. Please read. If you Google, you can't finish what I've written and said in one full day about Ndigbo.
You'll be shocked.
And that is why I'm worried. That is why I'm worried because of Ohaneze presidency rule. Even those who in the past have made statements, both private and public, that they don't believe in Igbo, are coming out to take it. And let me ask you a question. And people are not asking this question. Assuming without conceding, we hand over the presidency of Ohaneze to a person we don't know. And he comes out in the open and said that he has found out that he has spoken from a position of authority, vintage position of authority. That nails all our argument that here is Igbo land. It's a sensitive thing. I'm careful. I'm watching. I don't have the means, but we must tell ourselves the truth.
Thank you.
Abandoned property has spoken on it.
Because I got Bapi also, but in response and in question, because Chukwemeka Bapi also. Quickly, 1 minute.
Okay. Thank you very much. I hope everyone can hear me.
We can hear you. Go ahead quickly.
Very good. Biko, Uche Okwukwu, thank you very much. I've watched you. I've followed you. I've watched your YouTube presentations, and they are all excellent. Nobody can tell you Neburu Igbo, or nobody can tell you your who you are. You know who you are. My question is this. That was the same question I asked Iwanyanwu when he was in DC early last year, before he died. I told him, okay, let me introduce myself. My name is Chukwemeka Ofo. I'm a member of the American Veterans of Igbo Descent. I served in the United States Navy as an officer. I'm retired. My question is this, which I told him. I told him that security is key in every nation. That's why in America, you call 911, they will find you there within 5 minutes. I told him that we have a security issue in Igbo land. Secondly, security is local. You don't bring Fulani man from Sokoto to come and secure you in your village in Ikwere land. It's a no-no. It doesn't happen in any nation that want to be secured. They are there to spy on you. That's what they are doing. Because I told you that security has to be. What are you going to do in this issue?
Ask your question, not what you told Iwanyanwu. Because
very good. What are you going to do in this issue of security? Because we need it to be local. We can't have Fulani people securing our land. What are you going to do in that issue? Thank you.
Biko, nwanne m nwoke Uche, ị ga-echere tụ ka m were another question so that ka ịzakọta ha na-abụ ọnụ. Anthony, quickly. Anthony Nwadie, please go ahead. Anthony, are you there? Quickly. Abun Anthony adịghị ready. Ebeku Edike, go ahead.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, awesome. So the question I am asking, it's with respect to electoral value. There are a couple of questions there, but I just want to highlight one. So Ohaneze Rivers tenure for electoral value to the greater Igbo nation. Now, in 1979 and 1983, the Sage, Chief Azikiwe's party, NPP, they won the senatorial election, but lost the presidential election in Old River State. They also lost Cross River State as well. Moving forward to 2023, the same happened with Peter Obi LP, losing majority votes as reported by INEC in Rivers, Bayelsa, and Akwa Ibom. IREV results showed that Obi LP won majority votes, but the result here, we could infer that it was manipulated. Now, this was not the case in Ebonyi or Imo or Abia. Igbo voters, we all know, make up more than 60 to 70% of the voting demographics in Rivers State. So what structural steps must be taken to make sure that the people locally and the sociocultural organizations in those areas, such as Obako Ikwere and the ones that speak for Eche, Ndoni, Ogba Egbema, Opobo, etc., what steps must be taken to make sure that these people are able to defend their votes and promote, and so that the voting activities in those areas reflect the greater interest of the majority by democracy, and it also reflects the interest of the Igbo nation as well. So that's the question.
Ebekwadike, thank you very much. Ibala politics, anyway, Kangali ịzara onye ọbụla nwanne anyị nwoke Uche Okwukwu biko were ọnụ gị zara nke a ajụjụ na-aba jụrụ. Go ahead.
The first one is I think in the past, in the course of this interaction, I've addressed it, but let me repeat for emphasis. Security is local. I agree. But in the past, we have made attempts with Ebubago and ESM to institute internal mechanisms, and the outcome was not palatable. Why I say this is that why try to address the problem, we must be careful so that we don't come with solutions that will consume all of us. But presently, as we have today in Nigeria, the Nigerian police is a federal police, and there are no state police under our constitution. All we are putting are local vigilante structures in various places, and their duties ends, legally speaking, if you arrest a criminal, you hand him over to the police. The police have the power under the law to prosecute. And as I'm talking, there are Igbo policemen in Sokoto, Maiduguri, Lagos. There are Yoruba policemen in Igbo land. There are Hausa policemen in Igbo land. Now, if we must address it, we have to talk about the state police. And it has to pass through the national parliament, that's the National Assembly, for it to be addressed. Now, which means we need to collaborate with other regions, particularly Yorubas and the North Hausa Fulani, for us to have a regional police, for us to have state police, because under the law, the regions are not there. We don't have any regional governor. We don't have provincial governors. We have state governors who have the executive power, we have state assembly, and so on and so forth. That's my answer to that. I agree there must be something to create a local, come up with a local content that will address security, but we have to manage it carefully so it does not lead to an implosion in Igbo land. Bearing in mind that even we have to be careful because the Southeast is not, Ndigbo are not governed by one party. You have 4 or 5 political parties ruling in the different states, and then each one is in a contestation to seize power in the other person's state. I'm talking about the governors. Now, we have to be careful. It will require a study, and that's why when I said there will be need to constitute a study group that will come up with a detailed analysis of the issue and then recommend solutions. We will not act in a hurry. If you act in a hurry, you make more mistakes. The second one is elections. Thank God you pointed it out that in 1979, the entire Igbo-speaking people of the old River State that are present in the River State today all voted for MP. We produced 2 senators, Obiwale and Francis Ella, on the platform of the MPP, and Obiwale ended up the minority leader in the Senate. All our reps, our assembly was MPP. But things have changed. We don't have central leadership. We don't have an Obiwale again in Ikwere who can tell Ikwere what to do. In Ikwere land, there's too much quarrel. You have Wike and Amechi, Omeha, the major contenders, each one at the other one's throat, trying to get power at all costs. But the point I will make is that we should try as much as we can first to build up a leadership base in Igbo that will be able to talk to our people, to defend Igbo interests politically and otherwise. That is the solution. And that was the kind of leadership Zik offered that would make Ndona Igbo, to follow Nanja Zikiwe from NCNC to MPP. And after MPP, we have never had a political party that had that kind of influence in our lead. And it is important we all come together and identify onye ga-awụra Isaac ekwu ụka ndị Igbo anọ, just like ote Ashwaju na-emere ndị Yoruba, ote Buhari na-emere ndị Hausa Fulani. I need onye dị ote ahụ n'ala Igbo. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Nwannem.
Can I ask my question?
We are basically running out of time. Just go straight to the point. Then Tony, and Namen, please go straight to the point. Anthony, go straight quickly.
Okay. Okay. Barrister, thanks for your answers and for your presentation as well. Part of the pushback on your candidacy, it's the notion that you believe in fighting to pieces. If it doesn't go your way, you'd rather everything should scatter. Can you give an assurance that can you give an assurance that win or lose, you will still be a reliable member of Ohaneze, and we will not find ourselves back in court fighting among ourselves? That's the first question. The other one,
sorry.
Okay, if you want just one question, that's fine.
Let this come in. Please go ahead. Let's accommodate others.
Okay. Good evening, Barrister. It's a pleasure to come on here. And I'm now teaming listeners. I oh yeah, basara makana Njenje ajugo. Mazi ajugo ajuju mana asase nyere enwecha ejucha anya afọ. Oh yeah, basara omenala na ọdịnala Igbo. Kedi otu Ohaneze ga-esi were nyere aka maka na ihe m ji jụọ ajụjụ a wụ n'Igbo niile Ohaneze wụ ikike ga-agali n'Igbo niile, like ikwukwere ebe a sị governors na nwere their own agendas wụ APC, PDP, ABGA, Labour Party, but Ohaneze President General nwere ike ịkpakọli Igbo niile. Na ihe nọ na ọdịnala na omenala Igbo wụkwana ihe a na-eme na ekwere ebe isi ma n'ịka ma na ebe niile. Kedu otu ị ga-esi were nye aka jiri ọdịnala na omenala Igbo mee ya ka o sikwu ike, maka na ọ ya ọsọsọ ofu asụsụ aha ya na-asụkwa ebe niile, ihe gbasara Eke, Orie, Afọ na Nkwọ, ihe gbasara omenala Igbo. Biko, thank you.
Biko, nwanne m nwoke, ọ bụrụ na ị na-aza ya bụ ajụjụ, biko beere ya ịchafụ na dịka anyị na-ekwu, ndị mmadụ na-ewe n'aka elu nnukwu ndị oge anyị agwụla. Biko gbapụ ya ọsọ.
First, onye jụrụ m ajụjụ that ana m alụ ọgụ to the end, ya chọpụta from Uche Obiọzọ, ya jụọ the National Administrative Secretary Ohaneze Ndigbo, Ambrose Obiora, who is presently at the National Secretariat now as the Admin Secretary. When there was need for peace, I met with Obiọzọ in the presence of people, and I gave my words. I said, at your age of 80-something, you can be my biological father. I hapụrụla m gị, and I went home to rest. As Uche Obiọzọ nwanne ya, as Ambrose Obiora, Administrative Secretary Ohaneze, they are alive to attest to this. Obiọzọ is dead, but Ndodendo, no. Why I say this is that people tend to call a dog a bad name to kill the dog. Most importantly, if there is what is called injustice, somebody must stand up and fight against it. Just like I am saying that na Mike Okira Uhonye Igbo community non River State, and people are not listening. Yeruechi as an outlaw, there must be fight over it, because it is going to be the continuation of Imo State in power for 8 years. we allow that kind of thing, there will be fight, sir. Document it, I got log over it. Obo nyana ga fiscal war, but I got log, litigation, media, political battle. Kabo, o ihe gbasara omenala. Ekwuole m that na Ohaneze must work in collaboration with the Ministry of Information and Culture in states. Because they, under the law, you can't go to a state and begin to talk to people to gather the art pass, and that you have to work, collaborate with the Ministry of Culture, Information in that state to put things together. And then in that state, to talk to them to put up a Center for Arts and Culture to put the artifacts that have gathered, develop people's culture, write blueprints. Ohaneze can, through a committee on culture, arts and culture, collaborate with them to develop this policy so that we can preserve our culture for present generation and the generations in the future. Thank you, sir.
Nwanne m imeela, anyị ga-ewere mmadụ abụọ ọzọ. Biko, Chris, ọ bụrụ na ị ga-emetụ, amarụ m onye bụ Motorola, biko degharịa afa gị maka na achọghị m ọ bụrụ na anyị kpọpee ka ị kwuo igwe okwu, o nwere ndị na-adị abataba na-achịkọta ihe a na-eme. Ọ bụrụ na ị degharịa afa gị, anyị ga-akpọbata gị. Chris, go ahead. Then Chris jụsịa ajụjụ ya narụ nwanne anyị nwoke Chukwuma Eze Adachie ka ọ jụọ ajụjụ ya. Biko, Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Maze. Please give me that opportunity to thank Namen. I've been following your page. You're doing a very wonderful job. Please go ahead and do what you do. We love you. My question is there a way to make Ohaneze financially independent in such a way that the state governors may not, or in a way to mitigate their influence on Ohaneze? That's my simple question. Thank you.
Ya bụ okwu gbasara ya adịkwanụ ka anyị atụnyekwu n'ọnụ na ọ dị mma, mana ya nwa ga-ejikwa aka ya wee zaa gị. Biko, Chukwuma Eze Adachie, gụnwa m okwu a mee ya ọsịsọ, gbapụ ya ọsọ.
Onye Njenje, ekenekwa gị. Ọrụ unu na-arụ ọ dị anyị mma over the years. Anyị na-eforo gị wee for how you have been helping us to know what is happening. But it's Uche, your friend from Hanover. Ama m ga-echeta ebe 2020, ebe 2002, 2003. We organized a Biafran conference in Hanover, and you are one of our guests that time. And it was so nice because na ihe na-anụkwa from you now bụkwa ebe ekwu over 20 years ago. So achọrọ m ama m ihe ndị ekwu ga-ekwu, mana ajụjụ na-abụ nchọ eju bụ o nwere ife nna ya nwodo, a program nna ya nwodo wepụtable before, and Igbo Stabilization Fund, ama m na-ekwugo maka ya. That program, I believe so much in that program. I don't know what you think about that program too. A security issue. Ikwugo maka ya and egego m ya, but achọrọ m ịma enwego ka isi wee study ife ndị Yoruba na-eme with this amoteko, and if so, or the applicable na Southeast ka anyị wee nwee ike inwe peace, because n'ihe ala ebe nsi ada aga ebe ahụ aga. Ekenekwa gị.
Thank you very much. Ngwa anyị ga-ewere onye nke ikpeazụ. Okay, o degharịgo, ya bụ Ndubisi BVI channel. Ndubisi, biko jụọ ajụjụ gị ka ọ zọkọta ajụjụ niile a n'otu oge.
Oke, nwanne m Njenje, daalụ. Uche, ekene gị. Biko ajụjụ m bụ ọkwa ị na-anụ ife na-ekwu?
A na-anụ ihe na-ekwu gaa.
Ajụjụ m bụ ọ bụrụ na ị bụrụ Ohaneze President General, ka the system of government in Nigeria iya akwado or iya akwado ndị Igbo ka fa sọpọtụ? Ajụjụ nwere ike ịjụ.
Thank you. very much. Ngwa nwanne anyị nwoke biko anyị abịa n'okwu gị zazie ya bụ ajụjụ ịtọ ajụrụ.
Stabilization fund to me is the same thing with sovereign fund. And I've raised the issue that now Ndigbo Ohaneze will work with Igbos to ensure that I raise a fund which will be managed by a board of trustees made up of Igbos from within and outside. That fund will be kept to address Igbo problem in time of exigencies and emergency needs. That stabilization fund too will be used to help to address different areas. For example, you have raised the issue of culture. You need funds to handle arts and culture. So it is important, I agree with it, but it must be managed in such a way that it will not be abused, which is one of the banes of Ego na Igbo, abuse. Our generations also. You must manage it so I don't abuse it. Now, on the issue of security, Ekwolem Ototor about it. Ekwolem that Naga set up a committee custody our own security, peculiar security needs and challenges and needs. That committee will look at it holistically and come up with analysis and recommendation. No one has monopoly of knowledge. I'm not a security expert. I'm not. There are people who understand security, both from the psychological perspective, the study itself, and the physical dimensions of it. So they will be involved. In here, the possible in Yoruba may not be possible in Igbo because they are monarchical. We are acephalous in our own societies. But if they will committee study and make a recommendation to Ndigbo. Kato, ejurum of the government in Akwado, ajụjụ na-ajụ subjective ajụjụ. Nza gị subjective opinion nukem. Now, ejum opinion you must take it to the parliament, amend it, and bring it assembly to third of the state assemblies and so on and so forth. So I'm not in the parliament. I will deal with issues that concern me, the Ohaneze constitution. Now, that's all I can say for that. So that I will not go and say things people will say, Onya Arabia Hakola, because your lawmaker is listening. He knows that some of us are considered lunatics when we have our own personal opinion. So if the Igbos in the General Assembly of Ndigbo, Congress of Ohaneze, so that now they are going to make a private member bill or ask their people in parliament to move that presidential system of government should be changed, that is too expensive. And honestly, it's very, very expensive. That something need to be done, whether to move, tinker it, and go back to parliamentary system. It's going to be a constitutional debate. And our people who believe in it, need to lobby the National Assembly, lobby the state assemblies, and lobby the governors for the constitution to be amended in that direction. Thank you, sir.
Asina Obambara gbasi egwu bụ ikima na ihe ọmụta na egwu agwụla. Anyị ga-ewetazi ya bụ nkata anyị na-akpa n'isi njedebe. Biko ụmụnne m, ọ bụghị ntị m ka nke unu. M ga-achị ka nwanne anyị nwoke na ngwụcha ka ọ gwa anyị okwu mkpokọta na nkata niile nke anụnwa anyị kpara. Onye ọbụla gụchaa ntị ya ma cherekwa na nkeji mgbe ọ ga-akụ nkeji 7 n'oge mgbede na uhuruchi, anyị ga-anọkwa na anyị na nwanne anyị nwoke Mike Okiro ga-anọkwa ebe a kpaa nkata. Anyị ncha niile ihe nna anyị the same login ka a ga-eji wee bịakwa. Onye ọbụla bata ka anyị ndị Igbo ka anyị jikere, maka na onye ọbụla ga-achọ na ọ ga-abụ onye ndu ndị Igbo ga-abụkwa onye ga-ekwetanụ na ọ ga-abịakwa were ajụjụ na ndị ahụ ọ ga-achọ na ọ ga-eji achọkwa ka ha jụọ ya ajụjụ. Nwanne m nwoke bụ Uche Okwukwu, imeela, ọ dị mma ka isi wee kwe anyị na gị wee kparịkọta nkata, mana ọ bụ otu ihe bụ na ndị na-enye anyị ọkụ ekweghị ka ihu ọmarịcha ihu gị anya mana o maka ọ dị anyị nụrụ onu gị dịkwanụ dakwa ụda ka ogene. Ana m asịzi biko were otu nkeji wee lachaa okwu niile nke e kwuru na mgbede ọnụ tupu anyị asị onye ọbụla kachifo.
My brother, nwanne m, ụmụ nwanne m, ndewonu. Ana m asị unu big thank you ma ndụ na-arụ ọnụ the television platform, ma ndụ jụrụ ajụjụ ma ndụ gere ege. Ọnụ ewerele mgbe ka unu ga-eji mee ihe ọzọ zuo ike n'oge Christmas na New Year. Bịa gere m ntị. Chineke gọzie unu niile. Ihe m na-arịọ n'aha Jizọs Kraịst nwa ya.
Amen. A sị na ekene ike nyụrụ arụ. O megidekwanụ na ọ ga-ekenekwa ya bụ imi n'ụlọ isi ya. O kenego anyị ncha niile. Ma sịkwa na ya bụ onye tere ya bụ ofe na unu bunyekwara ofe ekene. Ụmụnne m, ọ bụ etu a ka ọra n'ọnụ anyị ga-bikonu ka ọ dị ndị niile nọnyere anyị na ịntanetị na YouTube. Anyị na-asị bikonu, ọ bụrụ na o nwebeghị onye n'ime anyị na-esonye anyị, gbaa mbọ fụ na itinyere aka na-esonyere anyị. Ndị nọkwanụ na Zoom, unu jee n'ebe a na-ede ihe edemede nke a na-akpọ comment section. Anyị etinyekwalanụ akara ihe niile anyị kwuru tata ebe ọ dị, maka na mgbe anyị na-ekwu ya ụwa niile nọkwa na-ege anyị. Ndị nọkwa n'ebe a, biko ọ bụrụ na anyị kwụsị ihe nke onyonyo anyị na-transmit online, ndị na-ebe a anyị ga-enye ohere nkeji 5 ka anyị cha niile dịka ụmụnne kenekọta onwe anyị.